So what's up, people? This is Robert Bassano. I wanted to just basically share some thoughts, some hypotheses, some theories. We're watching a few videos from some people talking about, the upper atmosphere, space. DOD standards is at 262,000 and change above the center surface of the earth. 262,000 feet and change above the center surface of the earth. That's DOD standard. The international standard is called the Kármán line. That's 328,000, 82,000 feet from the center surface of the earth. I put out a video with a document from the Naval Research Laboratory back in 1945. Document is actually dated 1954 because during the late 30s and 40s they were conducting upper atmospheric testing, launching stolen V2 rockets and some other manufactured rockets that were produced by Jet Propulsion Laboratory and the Army. And based on those tests, nothing got beyond 73 miles. Okay, that's unmanned. You maybe got 100, maybe 200, 300, 400 pound payloads for upper atmospheric testing and all kinds of instrumentation. Half of the rockets exploded before they even got to max altitude, just got out of control, lost all types of aerodynamic stability. And a few rockets got to about 60, 65. Highest altitude was 73 miles. Now that's about 420, maybe 450,000 feet above the center surface of the earth. Okay? Nothing went into the vacuum of free space. Nothing. Nothing. Okay? This is back in the late 30s, 40s, 50s. But let me digress. I want to address the issue of what everyone's talking about on YouTube regarding what's above us. And I'm going to throw out my theories and hypotheses. And I welcome anybody to, make their comments, put up some proofs. And when I say proofs, I'm not talking about that visual shit you're putting together. I'm talking about doing the actual documentary research to look into the physics on the chemical, fluid, and gases and solid matter foundation. All right? Don't just spit the shit out there and, it doesn't make sense. But I'm going to try to make sense of what I'm going to say. There's a possibility there could be water. All right? Now, I'm not going to say it's actual water, because then that would assume that there's O2 at extreme high altitudes. And the reason why I say that there would need to be O2 at extreme high altitudes, because we know hydrogen would be included with that, right? Which is combustible. But there can't be O2 up there. There just can't be. Because for there to be O2 up there, then that means that the sun is actually burning something, right? You can't create fire without oxygen, right? That's what we know here on the ground, on Earth. You need O2 to create fire. The sun is supposed to be at 58,000 degrees plus Kelvin. That's the surface of the sun, supposedly. How they got that temperature, I have no idea. But it's consistent, give or take 10, 20 degrees Kelvin, 100 degrees Kelvin, depending on, what stages and fluctuations the sun is actually going through. Eric Dollard said the sun's not burning anything. They don't know what the sun is burning. I had a private conversation. Well, it wasn't really a private conversation, but I had a 1 hour plus conversation with Eric Dollar, and he confirmed what I had already hypothesized, that the sun has to be within one of the layers of our atmosphere, above in the thermosphere, where the temperatures exceed 2,000 degrees Celsius. Okay? 2,000 degrees Celsius. Celsius and Kelvin is pretty much the same, give or take. So with those consistent temperatures, with the sun maintaining a constant thermal temperature of 58 degrees plus Kelvin, it's giving off some sort of light. It could be all electric, okay? We can go with that hypothesis. Or it could be burning something. And if it's burning something, then that means it's within our atmosphere for it to be giving off any sort of, how should I say, fuel, energy, light. And if we go with what foundational science says, that it's, there's these orange, bright orange type of hydrogen and helium plasma being ejected from the surface of the sun, then there can't be O2 up there. There can't be O2. It can't be burning O2. Now, some of you might say, well, maybe there is water up there and it is burning off O2. Possibly. But then that would mean that the sun is not 93 million miles from the surface of the earth. Because if we were to assume it's 93 million miles from the surface of the earth in free space, in a vacuum, hey, you ain't burning fucking shit in a vacuum. There ain't no fucking O2. The Glenn Research Center, they suck everything out of that damn chamber. Everything. As much as they can possibly get out of there. There's nothing in there. It's cold, and there's nothing to burn. You couldn't light a match to save your life. There won't be any chemical reaction. So let's assume there's no chemical reaction in free space, and the sun, we have to assume that the sun is not 93 million miles from the surface of the earth. We don't know how vast our atmospheric layers are. We know the limit to the troposphere. We know the limit to the mesosphere. We know the limit to the stratosphere. Okay? We know where the thermosphere starts. But then when you go from the middle thermosphere, where the temperatures exceed 500 to 1,000 degrees Celsius, and you go beyond that, it just gets hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter, to the point to where those who've sent up balloons and you see just this white light, okay, that's super hot. That's super hot. We've all seen the experiments that are conducted, online. See the YouTube videos where things just get to a really bright orange glow, and then, it starts to get blue, and, you've seen the constant flames. The blue flame is, it's consistent, and then as you keep that consistent temperature, that whatever that object is starts to get brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter, so it just eventually gets just white hot. Okay? So I don't believe that the fluid in space, rather it be 262,000 above 328,000. I don't believe there's O2 up there. It's what they call, I believe that's what's up there, is what above at those altitudes is, if it's fluid, which I'm now more inclined to believe, more and more as I start looking into this, that is helium-4. It's helium-4. It's liquid superfluid, which is colorless, odorless, non-toxic. Now, it was first discovered in 1938 by a Russian physicist. And you see the atomic mass, all right? The density of helium superfluid is 200 minus 2,000 nanometers. Okay, 200. Actually, I'm sorry. Let me correct myself. It's the density is between 200 to 2,000 nanometers. That's the density of helium-4. 200 to 2,000 nanometers. Now, to get to get to superfluid, you have to get as close to absolute zero as possible, and we can't do that. No one has ever reached absolute zero in a controlled experimental environment. Nobody. Nothing. You can't get to absolute zero, period. You can get real damn close to it, but you can't get there. Not in a controlled experimental environment. All right? That's one of the problems with science. You can't simulate what's going on up in the sky. You just can't do it. You can't do it. One, you're in a controlled environment. So even if you do it to 1/100th of the scale of what you're gonna propose the vastness of space in our upper atmosphere, then your results are going to be inconclusive. Because who knows where it ends? We know where it starts, but we don't know where it ends. So you're looking at numbers that are just not even practical. Then I started researching what the Fermilab was doing with regard to, I saw a lecture on dark matter, dark fluid. Okay? Helium combined with hydrogen, it could be combustible. Okay? We know how much helium, we know that helium gas is lighter than air. Okay? Helium gas, lighter than air. But there's a specific density to it. It's actually denser. It's denser than helium-4, superfluid. So with the talk that everyone's saying that there's got to be liquid up there. There's got to be liquid. There's got to be liquid. And then people talking about the lunar wave that they see. I don't agree with the lunar wave. I think what's being seen in those telescopes is a moment and an anomalous, a heat anomaly being projected by the moon, by the light from the moon. It's heat, which is causing that anomaly being seen in the telescope. And giving the perception and presenting the perception that the moon may be sitting in some sort of fluid environment, transparent fluid environment. And then all of a sudden you see these waves, so to speak, like you would if someone were in a swimming pool with a black bottom. The water's completely still, and then all of a sudden you see these waves being created. No, I don't think it is. Now, what I do want to hypothesize is this as a possibility. Because of what happens to liquid helium once it reaches absolute zero or close to it, and the way it just, I got to show you the video, which I'm going to show you the video online, of what happens to liquid helium when it gets down close to absolute zero Kelvin, and how it just comes out of the container that it was inside of. It just came out of the glass container. It just somehow, it didn't evaporate, but it just climbed up the walls of this glass container and came out of the container. Now, there's some other things that I wanted to show you because what I felt was pretty interesting. Let me see here. And I'm going to take you to it in a second. As I believe I know how the moon and the sun are actually moving around the earth. I think I may have the answer. I'm never going to be 100% sure on this shit until I can literally go up there myself or be brought up there to see it and observe it with my own eyes. But this is just an hypothesis. This is just a theory that the moon, if you're claiming that you see lunar waves and you think that the moon is in a fluid environment, then you better be also agreeing that the moon can't be 258,000 miles from the center surface of the earth. There's no fucking way that the moon could be 258,000 miles from the surface of the earth. If you say you're seeing lunar waves and you think that may be fluid, I'm going to challenge you and say that shit is wrong. Because I'm going to ask you, okay, you saw lunar waves. How far do you think the moon is away from the earth? And if you tell me if you agree with NASA that it's 258,000 miles from the center surface of the earth, then I'm going to tell you you're fucking dead wrong. You didn't see any fucking lunar waves. You maybe saw a burst of maybe some hot air or cool air moving across your fucking telescope. Because the only way you'd be able to see those lunar waves is if the moon was closer. Somewhere around 65 to 70 miles from the center surface of the earth, and it's giving off heat. And what you saw was a burst of thermal energy coming off the surface of the moon at 256 degrees Fahrenheit. That's right. The surface of the moon temperatures have been recorded at 253 to 256 degrees Fahrenheit plus to minus 253 to 256 degrees in the shade. Those temperatures are fucking consistent. Now, when you have consistent temperatures of any sort of solid mass body or gaseous body, we could all agree that the moon is not a gaseous body floating in the sky. It's solid, some sort. Those consistent temperatures mean that the moon, based on just geometric measurement from the center surface of the earth on up, when you look at the atmospheric temperature charts, that temperature is consistent to around 150 to 200 kilometers, which is around just above the Kármán line. Okay, Kármán line is around 62.5 miles. Right? Actually, no, I'm sorry. 100 kilometers is 328,000 feet. 200 kilometers, another 100 kilometers would be around 630,000 feet. I'm sorry, no. 660,000 feet. Okay? That's where the moon is. Because right at that level is where the temperatures in the thermosphere are somewhere around 200 to 350 degrees Celsius. I'm sorry, 200 to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Consistent temperatures. So that heat, that wave you're seeing, the same as you would if you were looking on the flat plane surface of the earth, looking out to the desert, you see those heat mirages and waves coming from the surface of the earth, from the heat rising from the ground. It's the same fucking thing you see. You see the same exact thing when you're looking at the moon. You claim to see waves. That ain't water. Those are heat waves you see. Because you're looking at the sun as it's projecting its own light. It ain't reflection of the fucking sun, the sun reflecting light onto the moon. The moon gives off its own fucking light. How? I don't fucking know. I don't know. But I want to get to how the moon may be moving around the earth. Okay? And this is how I believe the moon is actually moving around the earth. Stand by. So check this out. This is my hypothesis and theory on how the moon and the sun are moving around the earth. Okay? It's not gravity. Okay? There ain't shit happening at 9.8 meters a second. There's nothing pulling anything down to the earth. Everything is being pushed down. Pushed to a flat plane surface. I'll say that again. Every fucking thing on the fucking earth, the ground you walk on, is being pushed down. Planes don't fly, they fall. They just happen to have engines that get them up into the air and propel them forward in a linear fucking fashion. And those engines have to stay at a constant speed, a constant thrust, have enough energy to keep it up in the air, taking advantage of the thermals and the wind vectors. Planes fall, they don't fly. So there's no fucking gravity. Everything is being pushed down. It's called pressure. Okay? So let's look at this. The sun and moon are moving around, and these superfluid helium vortexes. Okay? In this popular science article, they describe this shit. All right? They describe this. And here's what they discovered. Okay? They say that lower and lower temperatures, greater and greater fractions of liquid become superfluid. Liquid helium becomes superfluid. Superfluid helium can do some seemingly impossible things like climb up the walls of containers or leak through pores that are too small for normal liquid helium to pass through. At this point, superhelium is demonstrating the effects of quantum physics, which makes it especially tantalizing to physicists. All right? So get this is what they did. This is what they said. They say the team fired nano-sized droplets of superfluid helium across a vacuum. Meanwhile, they aimed a free electron laser across the vacuum so that the laser would intercept the drops and take images of the drops as they went spinning past. These images reveal that the droplets each contain more than 100 quantum vortices, tiny whirlpools that fill the droplets in a 3D array. The vortices help maintain the structure of the droplets so that even when they're spinning at speeds that would cause normal liquid droplets to fly apart, they remain stable, single droplets. That said, the high spinning speeds of the drops did make many of them take on an egg shape instead of a spherical one. 1% of the drops even took on strange wheel shapes. There you go. Now, is that proof? I always say, you know what the fuck my motto is? It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And there you go. If you like apples, how the fuck you like them apples? 100 quantum vortices. Tiny whirlpools. Tiny whirlpools. Okay? This is what it looks like. So, if you have superfluid helium at absolute 0 degrees Kelvin, and here you have the solid mass body of the moon floating inside this shit, which is colorless, odorless, non-toxic. You have this, the amount of this superfluid is abundant. They say 99.99% of the earth is helium. 99.99%. The earth is encased in helium. So when you get at higher altitude, when you get at specific altitudes, say above the thermosphere, somehow this superfluid is within that environment. And again, I'm going to show you the YouTube video where they dropped this liquid helium down to close to 0 degrees Kelvin as they could get. But there was another container outside of the internal container with the superfluid helium where the temperatures were warmer. Okay? They were actually trying to bring it down. Okay? So at some point, this superfluid helium is in one level. And there's the moon moving around in its elliptical orbit around the flat plane Earth. It's floating in there. It's floating in that environment, colorless, and there's so fucking much of it that the moon is moving literally like a ballerina, just smooth. It's just, now you got to understand this. They also say that superfluid helium, it literally has no viscosity at all, no friction. So you would never be able to know for sure. You would never be able to confirm with your own eyes that the moon is actually moving through a massive, unlimited fluid body of liquid fluid helium at 0 degrees Kelvin. You would never be able to tell. You would never be able to see the wave and the wakes being created because it's moving at a fucking constant speed. And if it's moving at a constant speed, for God knows how long, you're never going to be able to see this shit unless you go up there. And no one's ever been up there. Nobody. And if they have been up there, let's just say, if they have been up there, if astronauts have really been up there, then they're in the same fucking environment. But here's the situation. You never see them enter that environment. You never see them enter the environment. You only see them after they've entered the environment and they're inside of it. They're inside the environment. You don't ever see them go inside of it, enter it. You see them after they've already gone inside of it. And they're doing their thing. Now, why are astronauts being interviewed and saying that when they have to describe what is it like? What do you see when you go into space? And they all confirm, to wit, it's blacker than the blackest black I've ever seen. It's just, you can't see nothing else but the sun. Now, why can't they see any fucking stars? Few reasons why. Number one, the constellations are at a lower altitude. Inside one of the rotating atmospheric layers of the Earth, which is a fucking ellipsoid. And the reason why I'm going back to telling you it's a fucking ellipsoid, okay? Because what did they say here? What did it say? The high spinning speeds of the drops did make many of them take on egg shapes instead of a spherical one. 1% of the drops even took on a strange wheel shape. 1%. Now, could it be that the pictures that NASA showing us this ball Earth could really be just a flat fucking wheel-shaped disc? And that the view that DARPA has for their logo and the White House has for their White House symbol showing a fucking egg. It's an egg-shaped ellipsoid. I think the rest of the universe, that's what we're inside of. Are we spinning? Fuck no. I think these little tiny quantum vortices, which are probably an infinite amount of them, billions and trillions of them, are spinning around us. That explains the stars, why they move around. Right? That would explain the stars, why they're. Now, let me get back to why they don't see any stars. I'll tell you why they don't see any stars. And it goes into the link analysis I conducted regarding the research on dark matter and dark fluid. This object right here was created by a company called Surrey Nanosystems. It's called VantaBlack. VantaBlack. This is not a Photoshop image. This is not a fucking Photoshop image. It's not. This is that it was made out of carbon nanotubes. This substance, VantaBlack, can absorb 99.96% of all visible fucking light. Now, if you looked at this image for the first time, you think, oh shit, there's an aluminum foil wrapped around this VantaBlack substance, right? Aluminum foil. And the fact that someone took a picture of it And there should have been a flash or whatever it may be. Maybe it's just a natural light from being inside the laboratory. But look at this. You don't see any reflection from the aluminum foil onto the VantaBlack. Matter of fact, you look at this, you would think that somebody redacted out whatever the fuck is behind this aluminum foil. But no, the photo is not redacted. There's no light. 99.96% of all the light was absorbed by this substance. Now that's where dark matter and dark fluid come into play. Because I think the rest of the system, out and beyond, when the astronauts enter the superfluid helium environment, that everything else you see on those videos and those photos taken by NASA and every other space agency is dark fluid. The dark fluid, according to the Fermilab, is very cold. Whoa, wait a minute. Isn't superfluid helium at 0 degrees Kelvin extremely fucking cold? Come on. What else there is a need? What else do we need? What else are we going to need to start putting together this model? So the superfluid helium inside a vacuum created quantum vortices, tiny whirlpools. The sun and the moon are inside these whirlpools, spinning around. Because we're not fucking moving. The constellations are in this environment. Okay? And then above the constellations, you have the superfluid helium environment. A much more massive one. Astronauts are going into this environment. You never see them go inside of it. You only see once they already entered it. And they're doing their thing. But they're not in a vacuum. They're not in a vacuum. They claim they're in microgravity. Well, you look at, when I show you the video of helium-4, that's a fucking microgravity environment. And if you look, and again, I said this before to somebody else on their show. NASA is a defense agency. They're military. All their fucking flight commanders, all former military or current military guys. They train in an aqua tank. They train in a fucking tank. They train in the water. We train in environments exactly the way we would when we have to go into the real situation. Dev Group, SEAL Team 6, created a model of what Osama bin Laden's compound looked like, what the outside and the inside would look like, how it's structured up. And they trained and trained and trained and trained so that that mission would be seamless. They knew exactly where they were going to go, what they were going to do. You think that they just take a picture of the fucking house and be like, okay, let's just fucking storm the whole fucking thing. No. Astronauts train, do all their ISS training, satellite maintenance, all that shit in that fucking 40-foot, 50-foot tank. In a fluid environment. They train in a liquid environment because they're going into a superfluid liquid fucking environment that actually acts as two platforms. Number one is cold as fuck, lack of oxygen, and neutral buoyancy. Because that's what helium does. Helium causes things to float. You put a fucking enough of it in a balloon, it's gonna fucking float, right? The more you put in there, the higher it's gonna go. So I agree with somebody else says that there's a possibility of space shuttles were all fucking just giant fucking helium balloons. But here's another theory I have. I think I know why. I think I may have the answer as to why they go to Prestamico, main engine cutoff. Prestamico. Main engine fucking cutoff. I think I know why they're shutting off the engines. And they have to go to a gas sort of maneuvering capability. I think I know why. You got chemical reactions with those rockets, right? Creating combustion. You get up to altitude, you're pushing as high as you can get. You know that you got to get to a specific level, 262,000 feet plus. That's DOD standard. These motherfuckers ain't getting to 328,000. Maybe they are. I'll say, fair enough, I'll say they are. Because I've actually seen video with the telemetry data, which I think is fucking fabricated and they're just programmed in. But I've seen the shuttles, the telemetry data online where they get them to about 345,000, 350,000. But then after that, they cut the fucking video. They don't show you nothing else. They show the main fuel tank separate, which is supposed to be moving at over 16,000 miles an hour, but it separates from the shuttle. The shuttle somehow continues. Well, what you're seeing is you're seeing the main engine tank get separated, and then there's this quick amount of distance that's established between the main engine, the main fuel tank, and the shuttle. But then the shuttle, they have to flip upside down to watch the fucking main fuel tank as it starts its descent back down to the earth, right? They gotta follow this fucking thing. But it's still moving in excess of fucking 15,000 miles an hour. Inside this superfluid environment, supposedly is moving in a superfluid. Let's just say it is moving in a superfluid environment, okay? But the shuttle is supposed to still be climbing, because remember, the space station is supposed to be at 245 miles above the surface of the Earth. I don't believe that shit. I don't believe the ISS is at 245 miles, 100 yards long, 50 yards wide. No fucking way. I don't give a fuck if superfluid's up there or not. There ain't no fucking way that thing is up to 245 miles. I think it's literally probably about 600 fucking miles, 500 to 600,000 feet. And it's on a bunch of fucking football-sized field fucking balloons with fucking helium inside of them. That's what I believe. Because the fact that NASA's spending a shitload of money on fucking helium, and they may run the fuck out, that's exactly what the fuck they're flying back up there on those SpaceX fucking bullshit and Soyuz rockets. They're sending helium back up there and extra fucking balloons. Because the elliptical orbit that the space station is actually taking, climbing and dropping 1.5 miles to 2 fucking miles every few minutes, that's the same type of elliptical behavior that balloons actually take when you launch a high altitude balloon to 140, 150, 160,000 feet. They gain and lose about 1 mile to 2 miles of altitude for 90 fucking days. The ISS has the same behavior. So ain't no fucking way it's moving at 17,000 miles an hour around the Earth, dropping 1 mile to 2 miles in fucking altitude, or even 10 miles. I mean, I showed you guys a photo where the ISS is supposed to be fucking 190 fucking nautical miles above the surface of the Earth. How'd it fucking drop from 245 miles down to fucking 190 miles? That's a lot of fucking altitude to drop. And then somehow you pushed it right back up in the fucking into the thermosphere? Man, please. You gotta be a fucking idiot to believe that shit. And my mother didn't raise any she didn't raise an idiot. But let's get back on point. So, the point being is that I think I have the answer why they're cutting off the engines. The main engines that are causing the chemical combustion and propulsion of the space shuttle. And the reason being is this. You got the sun giving off hydrogen, right? Supposedly. The sun ain't 93 million miles away. It has to be maybe the sun is somewhere around 1 million miles. Maybe it's 1 million miles. Maybe it's 1 million miles. No. Let me retract that. Let's see here. I'd say it's about 1 million to 2 million feet. Has to be. Give or take 700 to 800 kilometers. But if the sun is emitting hydrogen, right? And that shit is spread out and it's constantly giving it off. It's got to be at least 2 or 3 times the size of the fucking Earth to heat the entire Earth. But if it's really giving off that helium, that superheated helium and hydrogen, we all know what fucking happens when you light hydrogen. It's a fucking bomb. Bomb. You got the Big Bang all fucking over again. That's why they're cutting off the fucking engines. They're doing main engine cutoff, I'd say maybe about 5 to 10, based on how fast they're traveling, 17,000 miles an hour. Say that when they separate from the main fuel tank, they're traveling at about 15, 16,000 miles an hour. Right? So, you know, an object in motion stays in motion, right? Let's say, let's decide to give Newton some sort of credit, you know, with regard to inertia, acceleration, and velocity. So you're traveling at, you know, over 15, 16,000 miles an hour, right? You're moving fast. You separate. And the main engine cutoffs to get away from the main fuel tank. You cut all that shit off. You done stored what you needed, right? You stored the extra fuel. Cut that off. And you continue a consistent velocity to gain more altitude. Because you're about to approach the next thermal level, the thermal level, where all of the superheated helium and hydrogen are also moving in a tiny whirlpool vortices, quantum vortices environment. Because if you fire up those fucking engines in that environment with all that fucking hydrogen and helium, shit, they're gonna be one goddamn massive fucking explosion in the fucking sky, probably catapult the fucking Earth out of its fucking position. Who knows where the fuck it would go? Or you completely fucking annihilate the Earth. The whole fucking universe would probably explode. Talk about the big bang? You'd have the biggest fucking bang ever. You would actually see it in your fucking lifetime. That's why they're cutting off the fucking main engines. Because there's all that fucking hydrogen and helium up there. Now alone, helium is not really combustible. Right? We've seen helium balloons explode, right? We've seen no fucking fires created. But hydrogen, oh yeah, we all know about the hydrogen bomb, right? Nagasaki, Hiroshima, we know what that fucking thing can do. There goes your radiation right there. There's your radiation environment. Fuck Van Allen. There ain't no fucking Van Allen radiation belts unless there's these little micro explosions going on where the hydrogen is being ignited. And you're creating the radiation in that environment. Right? Makes sense. It makes fucking practical sense, people. That's why they're cutting off the main engines. Because they're getting ready to enter this massive volume, unlimited, infinite volume of superheated hydrogen and helium that's being emitted by the sun at its altitude. And you're getting to go into another environment that's going to be just at absolute 0 Kelvin, superfluid helium, and dark matter, dark fluid. There it is right there. That should explain it. Can I prove it? Fuck no, I can't prove it. I can't do that experiment on Earth. But putting this all together, some of you out there who are maybe scientifically inclined and, you know, are thinking a little bit more deeper about this shit, instead of fucking hangouts talking about fucking fluoridated fucking water and fucking chemtrails and shit, You can't do shit about that. You ain't gonna understand what the fuck it is that's coming out of those fucking planes unless you fucking crawl into the belly of one of those motherfuckers, get a cup full of that shit that they got hidden in there inside the fucking cargo area of the plane, and take it to a lab and test that shit to see what it is they're really spraying in the sky. Or you become a stowaway, and as soon as they start spraying that motherfucker, you gather some of it. Make sure you take a fucking little small O2 tank with you so you can survive that fucking cold temperature up there. But I mean, we need to stop wasting time on all this bullshit everybody's talking about. This infight. If you're talking about you want to get along and we all need to band together so that we can become one. They talking about NASA strong. Our NASA is strong. They talking about Army strong. Navy showing how strong they're. They all get together and work together. You want to work together? Stop fucking talking about it and be about it. You got a fucking problem with me? Email me. Say, hey, let's fucking bury the fucking hatchet. Burn that motherfucker for fucking fuel for fire. And let's start putting all our resources together. I see you've been working on this. You got this documentation. You talked about this. Let's see if we can, shit, I can help you guys fucking get together the paperwork and documentation if you got the time and effort and insight to read the shit, to say, hey, I read this, Robert. I read that. Let's start putting this together. Let's have some weekly meetings, some hangouts. I'm presenting an open invitation right fucking now on this video. All you main motherfuckers out there putting out flat earth shit, talking about lunar fucking waves, water in the fucking sky, NASA shit, all that shit y'all guys talking about, I got the fucking documentation to back it the fuck up. Not only am I willing to share it with you, I will fucking share it with you. I don't have no fucking copyright claim to the shit. I didn't draft the shit, okay? I didn't steal it. I ain't hacking no system to get it. It's fucking out there in open source. You just gotta know how to fucking search for it. But all you top motherfuckers out there, listen, I don't give a fuck about views. I don't give a shit if fucking even one person sees the shit I put out. I don't give a fuck what you have to say about how I speak and how I present it. Fuck you. Grow a fucking backbone. Stop being so fucking sensitive like a bitch. This is about the data. I don't have anything personal against you fucking people. I don't know what the fuck you got against me. If you think I'm hard-headed, I'm stubborn, or I'm setting how the way I present things, you're fucking wrong. But I'm going to tell you here right now, if I see your fucking video, I run across it, and I decide, to waste my fucking 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 1 fucking hour listening to your fucking bullshit, and you ain't saying nothing new to help advance these claims and these theories and these hypotheses so that we can come up with a fucking universal fucking model and system that we all agree upon, then you ain't doing nothing but wasting my motherfucking bandwidth. Take that drama and fucking personal bullshit and stick it in your fucking ass. I don't need to know what's going on in your fucking house, in your fucking life. How fucked up you are, how much drugs you fucking do. Your personal motherfucking little B-rated fucking little pornos and shit and soap opera type of bullshit. This ain't what the fucking flat earth fucking push is about. It's about the truth. And the truth of the matter is some of y'all are fucked up in the head talking about all this bullshit. I'm giving you all an open fucking invitation. Let's get together. Let's do a private fucking hangout. The maximum people you can do on a fucking Google Hangout is 10 people. So let's see if we can put together a couple of these and start sharing the fucking information. You got people out there that do fucking fantastic video presentations. I mean, look at Jeremy's shit. Look at the shit he puts out. You got Flat Earth Hub. You got Geo Shifter. Here's some people who put out some really good shit. They're really good. They got time on their hands to put together some really good edited fucking video presentations. They're fantastic. But the problem is this. I'm seeing recycled bullshit. I'm seeing you taking somebody else's shit and repackaging it because you a fucking nice guy. You a nice girl. People like hearing your voice, listening to the way you present it. Man, fuck all that bullshit. I'll give you the information. Let's get together, collaborate, and then we decide, okay, who's going to put out this week? Who's going to put out this the next week? And so on and so on and so forth. Instead of all of us scattering, fucking using a goddamn fucking BB gun type of fucking methodology, using a shotgun that got fucking pellets in it to shoot a fucking elephant. You want to bring down a fucking elephant, you need to walk right up on that motherfucker and shoot him right behind the fucking ear. You don't stand fucking 1,000 feet away and aim at the center mass of the elephant and think you're going to fucking cause that motherfucker to drop to his knees. No, what you're going to do is piss him the fuck off, and he's going to come charging your ass trying to stick one of those ivory tusks deep up your fucking ass. We got to be surgical about this shit, people. Surgical. Like a fucking brain surgeon, a neurosurgeon who's about to open up somebody's head and remove a cancer the size of a fucking dime deep inside your fucking skull. That's how surgical we need to be. You people keep fucking talking about we all need to get together, but then you do your little fucking private shows where you got your little cliques and shit talking about your little sensitive fucking matters. Leave that shit for some other fucking drama. You're going to be talking about, if you want to use the term flat earth in your fucking videos, but you ain't talking about it, and you ain't addressing the shit, you don't understand the design, construct, and function of the fucking planet you live on, you shouldn't be talking about shit else. Because you don't know a fucking thing about chemtrails. You don't know a fucking thing about fluoridated water. You ain't a chemistry scientist. You ain't a molecular scientist. You ain't a physicist. You ain't a biologist. You ain't a geologist. You ain't none of those motherfuckers. But you can learn all that shit real fucking fast and make it so fucking simple where everybody believes you are the fucking jack of all trades. You are Einstein, Newton, Galileo, Tesla fucking combined. And that's how we need to be. Be about it instead of fucking talking about it. I'm willing to share every fucking thing I got. I'm even willing to do research for you motherfuckers in my spare time. And I got spare time, but not enough to be putting together some fucking flashy ass motherfucking videos that are like 10, 20, 30 minutes, 1 hour fucking long, and you ain't talking about nothing but bitching about each other, and you got all these fucking people in chat talking a bunch of shit, and they ain't giving you nothing to back up what they're saying or support you in what you're saying. So you're doing nothing but wasting fucking time. Like I said, I don't give a fuck how many people view my fucking videos. I ain't putting it out for anybody specific. I'm just putting it out. People like it or they don't want to like it. They accept it or they don't accept it. But those who keep coming back saying, hey, there's great data, then, you know, I appreciate those people a whole lot. I'm not responsible for their fucking happiness. They're responsible for their happiness and their satisfaction. Not me. I'm here to provide support, guidance, knowledge, intelligence, analysis. That's it. I don't have to put any of this shit out. None of it. I can stop fucking today. Because I don't give a fuck what anybody else thinks. Yeah, I'll look at a few videos here and there and say, wow, that gave me a... let me start looking into this concept. Maybe this is a probability. And that's what got me looking into the possibility that we lived in... that there was a fluid environment above us. What is below is above, right? I read the Bible so many fucking times, I never really honed in on that fucking concept. Until I started looking at all these NASA photos of them training in a fucking swimming pool. And I thought to myself, fuck, wait a minute. These motherfuckers are a defense agency. They're training in the water because they're going into a liquid environment. And that's why I decided to pursue a graduate degree in applied physics. That's why I'm doing this. because I need to understand the foundational concepts of how this shit is possible. And how we all together can actually come up with the answers and solutions that these fucking PhDs, these unlimited number of PhDs still can't fucking figure out. You want to know why? Because they're doing so much compartmentalized fucking research science and experimentation, they're not even fucking talking to each other. You got this paper being posted on fluid dynamics. You got this paper being posted on dark matter and dark energy. You got this paper being posted on photonics. You got this paper being posted on geological tectonic plates. You got this paper being posted on, astrophysics. But they're not all trying to bring all this shit together. No one's ever been able to bring all the information together into one central platform and say, holy fucking shit. Wait a minute. What you guys have been working on for the past 10 years coincides with what we've been doing. Oh shit. And what you've been working on for the past 10 years matches with what we've been doing. They're not trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And either they're intentionally not putting the pieces of the puzzle together, or they know all this shit goes together, and they know that the average fucking citizen out there don't have the fucking wherewithal to understand half the shit they put out to realize that one thing matches with another. And it's in a completely different fucking academic research realm. And that's what I've been doing. I've been taking shit from everywhere. And it's starting to come together real fucking fast. Now, would I appreciate help from other people out there who are inclined to do this type of shit I'm doing? Absolutely. Could I do it by myself? Fucking absolutely fucking right I can. And if I'm forced to do it, I'll put it out there. And then I'll come out with the most incredible fucking series of fucking videos, put them out on YouTube, that'll blow all this shit out of the fucking water. Who knows, I might even get a fucking Nobel Prize for this shit. I might even get a Nobel Prize for this shit. Do I care about it? No. I want no recognition for this shit. Really? I got a baby boy. He needs to understand this. I want him to know. So when he gets older and goes into his science class and he's got to talk about this type of science and how the universe works in the earth and the universe and the rest of the world, how it functions, he gonna get up there and give the most mind-blowing fucking presentation. They probably gonna say that, you know what, you don't need school. Shit, we want to give you a fucking degree right now. That's what it's coming down to. And if you don't have kids out there, you should try to understand this shit for yourself. So you're not walking around fucking like a zombie, clueless. Because 90% of you motherfuckers walking around completely clueless think you know what the fuck you talking about. And you ain't showing no documentation to back it up. Remember, it's not what you think you know, it's what you can prove. Be about it. Stop fucking talking about it. Period. I'm out. You guys have a nice day, but let me show you that superfluid video real quick before I end this. So instead of showing you that video, because you guys can all go online and search that shit for yourself. Type in helium superfluid, you'll see a shitload of videos. I want to bring you to this. This is an article talking about condensed matter physics. What are the differences between superconductivity and superfluidity? And I want to show you something. This is fucking helium. This is superfluid helium. Pouring out of a flask like it's a fountain. Like a fountain of water. It's just coming out of the flask by itself. Look at this. Okay? Superfluidity, superconductivity. Bose-Einstein concept. Superfluid helium fountain. Because physical phenomenon with super in this name requires pictures. And here you go. Look at this. We've all seen this before. And if you haven't seen it before, you better go search it. Superconductor magic tricks. They show this is solid mass helium frozen to almost 0 degrees Kelvin. And you see this cube floating on top of that. That's how the sun and moon move around the earth. Thermal equilibrium, people. That's right. You just got just the right amount of hot, just the right amount of cold, and shit will be floating around you like crazy. Peace out, people.